Hello and welcome to Antinatalism this week. One news from Childfree world is Childfree Convention is back. It will happen on 1st of August 2025. There is a short video posted on their Facebook page and there is a live countdown on their website. Right now, that's all I know. I'm not sure if the convention will be online and how to access it. The last two Childfree conventions were on Zoom and were made accessible to anybody. But we'll see as we get more updates about this one. A festival called Park Philosophy Week was held in Finland. The format was a series of talks, discussions, and probably songs as well in a park for anyone to attend. Matti Häyry was invited to talk about antinatalism. That event happened on 16th July. Matti has given his talk and the recording has been done. All we know so far is this photo that Matti has shared. I'm guessing the recording would be made available on the Exploring Antinatalism podcast in a few days. This is a pure guess. I don't have any insider information. So let us see. When we get it, I'll surely update in that particular week. Dr. Emil Torres had published an article, Do We Live in Hell? A comprehensive empirical survey of world's vast suffering. A channel called McIntosh made a video about this. Dr. Torres made a point that our world contains huge amounts of suffering, but did not attribute that to the nature of humanity itself, meaning humans are not fundamentally evil. It is the circumstances and the structure of our societies that we find ourselves in that causes all this cruelty and suffering. For example, capitalism rewards the exploitative nature in some individuals. McIntosh explains this point in a brief 7-minute video. He ends with a comment on our species, which is more interesting. We are the only species who are aware of being trapped in this society, which we have created ourselves, and at the same time, we can't escape this trap. A YouTube channel called Metaphysical Exile makes some very good video essays. He recently made a long video, more than 40 minutes long. We have to talk about antinatalism again. If you want a quick rundown of history of antinatalism, then first half of this video will help you. He goes through ancient Greek and ancient Indian thinkers and religions who thought on the lines of considering existence and coming into existence as something negative. In modern philosophers and writers, he considers Schopenhauer, Emil Cioran, Thomas Ligotti, Julio Cabrera, Peter Wiesel-Zapfe, and David Benatar, among others. He makes a point that most of these thinkers also considered other animals in their argument. Therefore, to claim that antinatalism is only for humans and that aphilism is for all animals is not true. He also clarifies some of the things that antinatalism is not. For example, it is not eugenics or pro-mortalism, etc. There's a section about how and why Guy Bartkus, that guy who bombed a fertility clinic in California, was wrong. And then Metaphysical Exile made another video, Martyrs of Reality. He goes through different real-world accidents and scenarios of death. We are not broken. We are all normal pieces caught in this broken reality is his main point. Very nice video essay to listen to. Metascientia is the first journal of philosophy and science in Turkish, according to this tweet by Taner Bader. In it is an article about Benatar. The article is in Turkish, but I got it translated into English. In the Shadow of Benatar, a reflection on the inevitable evil of life by Bekir Khan. As the title suggests, it covers Benatar's arguments for antinatalism and mainly his asymmetry argument, positives and negatives of life, and their comparisons. Bekir explains how the unborn has an advantage over being born, how our media and cultural discourses attempt to distance us from the real question about existence and coming into existence. He shows how Emil Cioran, Schopenhauer, and Benatar's views are in conflict with earlier classical philosophical debates that value human life. While doing that, he compares antinatalist views to the existential philosophers and absurdists like J.P. Sartre, Samuel Beckett, Fernando Pessoa, Kafka, and Albert Camus. 4 criticisms of David Benatar are mentioned. The positive aspects of life, that there are many pleasurable things and benefits of life, human choice of life, that most of us feel better that we were born, the practical consequences of antinatalism, mainly the resultant extinction, and the moral responsibility of parents where they bring a child into this world. Faith-based criticisms are mentioned as well. And then a very brief response to each of these criticisms by Benatar are presented. It's a nice reading for anyone who is slightly familiar with the topic and David Benatar. Dario Miric posted a long article explaining relationship of antinatalism, theory of evolution, genetics, consciousness, and Buddhism. He takes the concept of pratitya samutpad, which means everything is interdependent. This is deeper than cause and effect description of nature. Pratitya samutpad implies that even our own identity emerges out of interdependent processes that are going on in our brain. So the sense of self, the consciousness, and the sense of we being a body are all illusions produced by our brains. This mechanism has been naturally selected as it ensures survival of bodies as vehicles for propagating genes. But this illusion also creates a huge number of negative experiences. So not only is it an illusion, but it is also negative. We experience a lot of something which we would never choose and which doesn't really exist in service of protecting deeper ontological illusion. He connects this to David Benatar's axiological asymmetry. After explaining it in some detail, he says, being created gains nothing compared to never existing. It needs nothing positive prior to being created, and it can't experience anything negative. It's the only true perfection in my view. Now we know that the larger society treats antinatalism and its arguments as something negative. Pronatalists even think of us as evil. Dario says this attitude towards antinatalism is also a result of evolutionary illusion. Only the mind, biased strongly towards survival, could say that ending suffering is negative, while perpetuating existence, problematic in its core, is positive. It's a blind, irrational evolutionary mechanism which cares about nothing except survival. It knows no ethics, metaphysics, or psychology. It often fools us into thinking that antinatalism is negative. That mechanism is telling you a lie that antinatalism is negative. To make his point, Dario takes long detours into neurology, Buddhism, evolutionary science, and ethics and morals. I think Dario can expand this in a short booklet where he can explain each aspect more elaborately and then join all the threads towards antinatalism. Lawrence did another follow-up video on Malcolm and Simone where he shared his communication with the couple. It was revealed that Malcolm uses his inflammatory language against antinatalists on purpose to sensitize it for social media consumption. Lawrence criticizes Malcolm's approach of how he talks about antinatalists and also about those who want to end their lives. Whatever the case may be, if this is just acting that Malcolm is doing, then it is unfortunate. The arguments here are about life and death or birth. These are not easy subjects to start with. So, with his intended inflammatory rhetoric, Malcolm is actually doing a disservice to any cause, including the one of pronatalism that he so dearly supports. Anyway, Lawrence did two more videos about two more arguments from Antinatalist Handbook. One was on religious justification of procreation, and another on using children as an old age stick. Like, who will take care of you when you get old if you don't have children? Your saintly devil, that is Siddharth Dafaria, is continuously making videos in Hindi, mainly on why you should not have children. His topics include the God problem, religion, misanthropic arguments like the harm that humans cause to other animals, about the question of old age, the urban life perspective on having children, and so on. Another Hindi channel is Shashi.Antinatalist, and she is also continuously making antinatalist videos. Shashi comes more from a social and feminist point of view, but given the enormity of Hindi-speaking population, we need more of Hindi-speaking channels on antinatalism. MehtaEthics had a second Q&A video answering people's question. One of the questions was about antinatalism, specifically his 3 reasons for and against antinatalism. Interestingly, MehtaEthics does not agree with the way Benatar's axiological asymmetry is formulated, so he is going to present his own version in the future. So looking forward to that. We seem to be getting a good problem to have. I have seen a steady rise in YouTube videos talking for and against antinatalism. That's a good problem. It's a problem for me because then I have to watch hours of videos and make notes summarizing them, but given the time constraint, that is not always possible. So even though I'm happy that more and more content is being made and in many languages, I'm skipping a lot of videos, and so sorry about that. And that's all that we have for this week. Thanks for watching.